that's why it was not happening. Can we stop sharing screen and just start sharing my screen? Oh yeah, it says stop. How can I keep it?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Twirl Talks. I'm Shujata, the founder of Twirl Store, and it's a great pleasure for me to present these weekly talks and interactive sessions. So, as you know, Twirl Store is a social enterprise, and we are focused on reducing cloth wastage. We encourage everyone to send their unwanted clothes to us. These clothes are provided to those who need it, or we upcycle it as a fabric to make new products out of it. And this entire work of upcycling is all done by rural women, thus giving them a source of livelihood. Our products in the range of bags, accessories, gift items, they're all made by these ladies and are all available on www.twirl.store. So please do check it out today. We are really very grateful to you for always sending us your unwanted clothes and fabrics and for buying our upcycled products. The Twirl community that we've launched, as well as our social media platforms, and now Twirl Talks is just a way for us to remain connected with you always, because we always need your support in our journey to take another step towards a better world. In Twirl Talks, it's a great pleasure to introduce you to really remarkable people. But today, the lady I have with me is special for so many reasons. I personally believe that there are certain stories that need to be told, and more importantly, that need to be heard. And hers is such a story. You really need to meet her and know this story to appreciate what a wonderful person she is. I know Shomita may have some issues at her end today, so her video might be off at some time, but her story is so wonderful that I know you're going to remain connected always. So it's a great pleasure that I introduce you to Shomita Basu. She will tell you all about herself and the venture that she has founded. So over to you, Shomita. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Hey, Sujata, thank you so much for being so kind with my introduction. Let me just start with the clothes, the enterprise first, because as you know, when we start working on something that takes over all our um, all our thoughts, minds, and everything, all our emotions kind of get into that. So I design clothes that are about making dressing up and being dressed easy, comfortable, and painless for people who have any kind of physical challenge. And the range of these challenges are quite wide. It can be something as common but quite painful, like a frozen shoulder. And it's actually so common that once I start talking about it, everybody says, oh my God, I mean, everyone has said they know at least somebody with a frozen shoulder. So something like that. It can be something like arthritis. It can be something like recovering cancer patients. It can be even people who have very chronic pain for whatever reason. It can be particularly women. It's also for the men, but particularly women have a problem with incontinence, especially after they deliver their first child. And it can be senior citizens, it can be people with weak muscles, and chronic illnesses are just some, unfortunately, becoming very common and growing these days. So something as basic as clothing should be, as I say, their basic rights, and it shouldn't make them feel sick or look sick. It should make them feel good. And it should talk about who they are, and they are more than people who have a problem, who have an illness, who have, like, for example, if people have diabetes, their clothes don't go and scream, no, diabetes, diabetes, diabetes. So why should somebody who has a different kind of a physical problem have to look sick that way? So with that thought, I started Zeneca, and the belief was, clothes are man-made, so the clothes should, you know, love your body, and the clothes should fit you instead of you struggling to fit into your clothes in some way or the other. And it happens with people with no problem also. I mean, in fact, obesity is one of the things that I look into. But even if you're not obese, even if you just have a wide hip or something, most of the clothes that are in the market, you just look at them and you wonder, if it's really meant for you or not. And then you get into all kinds of diets and exercise regimes, which is good. Go ahead, do your exercise, but that should be for yourself. That shouldn't be to fit into a cloth, especially something which is man-made. So if it was made by nature, I may not have questioned it, but when it is made by all of us, that's when I start saying, can we not make it differently? So that's how I started.
Tell us, Shomita, why you came to this, a little bit of the background. Let everybody know that how you came to this realization that there are many of us who have needs that are a little different. Tell us a little bit about this.
So around I don't know, close to a decade back, 9-10 years back, I started falling sick. But it was around 5-6 years back when I started really losing my mobility, and it's a regressive disorder. So for example, today is a really bad day for me. For the lockdown, access to healthcare, the weather, everything put together, I've fallen very sick and I can't move at all. And that's why you see me like in this very weird popped up position in my bed. But even in this kind of a day, I at least want to feel good. I want to wear something which doesn't give me pain. So I got into this, what I'm wearing right now. I got into this without any pain. And this was not possible, let's say 5 years back. Whatever I was looking at, either they looked really drab, there was this very oversized maternity clothes, and the moment I wear them, it doesn't stay on me because I'm a petite person. So I need like large sizes to get into them, but I cannot keep on the large sizes. And that actually also started playing a little bit on me because I didn't feel like inviting people home. Forget going out. Anyway, going out was difficult because the roads are so inaccessible. So going on my wheelchair was not something that was easy. But at least inviting people home or getting on video calls like this one, for work, I tried to avoid it all because I didn't like the way I looked. And I have never been a clothes conscious person, Sujata. I have been somebody who just and that's because I always had the choice. I knew whatever I'm picking it out of choice. In this situation, I just didn't have a choice. I was just I started feeling I was never into wearing nighties. I had to wear nighties because that's the only thing I would get into, or like really oversized t-shirts. So I never felt like it is me. So I never felt like introducing myself, at least with a video, to other people. So I just stopped. So even today, when I'm really sick, I was wondering if I should come on this call on a video or not, and how it is. But I thought, okay, I mean, being sick is my reality, but at least I look the way I want. I mean, for example, I like floral prints. I like to, wear this. So it doesn't matter if I'm looking good or bad. What matters is I'm looking like myself. And I like myself in this. And that was very important for me. So given that choice was not there, and as I said, my illness was regressive. So when I started regressing, so right now I need help in everything. I need help in eating. I need help in just, getting out of the bed. But initially, the first thing where I needed help was in dressing up. So while I could do all the other things I can't dress up, and it's such a private thing for people, right? Like they don't like interference at that time. I had to sort of accept that, and that wasn't easy. So it was a matter of dignity, it was a matter of choice, it was a matter of pain, it was a matter, like a lot of physical pain. So I realized that even if somebody else is helping me, the clothes should be designed in a way where it is easy for the other person to help me. That's how I came to, and I started looking for clothes like that, and it wasn't there in the market. So I am more an entrepreneur by accident than by design. So I was like, okay, it's not there, so somebody has to solve it, and that's when I thought I should do it.
That is really wonderful. And, you know, I have come to believe that the greatest entrepreneurs are those who are by accident or by need, because, you know, need is the mother of all inventions. So I think, you know, when you have really felt the need and you come out and, you know, you presented a solution. So, you know, her enterprise is making all these adaptive wear for anybody who has any kinds of problems. And I think this is a remarkable work you're doing. At the same time, you know, there are a lot of youngsters on our call or maybe watching us live. I'd just like to tell them that, you know, she is an example of how we can overcome everything and still, you know, go out and solve problems and work for others. I mean, just a lockdown or you know, a small problem in our lives make us feel that, you know, we're not good enough to do anything anymore. But look at Shomita. Even today, you know, we had a call right before this in the afternoon that she's not feeling well today. And, you know, if she had said that, let's postpone the call, you know, let's postpone the 12 Talks episode by a day or two, I would have been totally okay with it. But she actually told me that, you know, I'm going to sit up on bed and I'm going to do this. And that sort of defines her, I think, you know, in every way, her undying spirit that, you know, no matter what happens, you know, no physical problem could, you know, pin her down. Her mental strength is so much. And at Twirl, we believe in including everyone in our journey. And I think that is why we have connected. Shomita and I have connected, and not just connected personally as friends, but we've sort of decided that we're going to try and work together whenever we can, because this is something I identified with immediately. This is absolutely a need. And I'm glad that she has also liked, you know, the work we're trying to do at Twirl. So we've both come together and we've just launched a joint effort also, where we are encouraging everyone that, you know, if you already have clothes in your wardrobe which need any kind of changes, be it a change in size, restyling, or adapting, as Shomita mentioned, if your needs have changed or your body has changed, or, you know, you no longer just want to or feel comfortable in something, you should be able to, you know, say that and get that change done. And this is where, you know, we have come together. And, you know, I am taking help of her, design expertise and her understanding of what people's need is. And we are also trying from our end, and together we are actually solving more of the problems in people's wardrobes, which is exactly what Twirl loves to do anyway. So Shomita, you know, a little bit about why you also wanted to, you know, do this tie up with us.
You know, I just really love your idea of upcycling the clothes that we otherwise don't wear. And something that I wasn't aware of, but as I started working in the industry, so my background, like you, is not from this industry, you know, so we are both new here, and we have both come for a purpose far more than just having a certain style on in our wardrobes. So after entering the industry, when I found that an average time any kind of clothing is worn is sorry, I somehow pressed the mute button without realizing.
We have you back now.
Yeah. So if I am used, I belong to a time when repair was a very common word. There were lots of small tailors or any kind of shops like, watches and so many things where if, people just don't throw away things, they would repair it. At home, there would be a lot of repairing happening for something or the other. A lot of spare parts, which I have started noticing, it's very difficult to find. Not necessarily only for clothes, that's not what I'm talking about, but any kind of, let's say, mixies and grinders, and all those used to have shops for spare part shops were common. Now it's not, because we have come into a culture of use and throw instead of use and repair. And I didn't realize that as far as the fashion industry is concerned, there are like the estimate is one dress is worn around 7 times on an average. Like 7 times is nothing. And here I am, I have clothes at a 20 years old, because they are perfectly fine, and luckily I haven't changed physically to the point, and I have adapted them after I've fallen sick. So that helped me. Once I knew how to adapt clothes, I just made sure all of them I can fit into again. Otherwise, the idea is to also donate it where it's needed, but not every time the donations are made right. Not every time the upcycling happens. So a lot goes into the landfill. So when you were doing your work and then I saw some of your products, I just fell in love with them. I mean, they are so creative. I mean, of course, you were serving the purpose, but over time, I almost forgot about the purpose because the creativity, took the front seat. And I also saw some of the clothes that you made, though that was not the most common item out there. And I thought they were so creatively done that anyone and everyone should want to wear it. So it's not, it's not about anything else, but it's just about doing something that's happy for everyone. It's happy for yourself, your wardrobe, your body, Mother Earth. And I thought you and I can come together in a way, because I also believe that I'm doing things to create happiness. I do things to create happiness for the body, for the self, So that's why I thought, when our journeys might be a little different, but the final destination is so similar. So we could work.
Absolutely. That is, beautifully put. So for everybody who's listening to us now, if you want anything in your wardrobe that needs change, contact either of us. If you know someone who needs a change in their wardrobe, they would, be more comfortable wearing it if it was changed in a certain way, do let us know. This is exactly what we're trying to do. We're just trying to make everybody a little more happier and a little more comfortable. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to write them on the chat, and we'll try and take them up as well. Yes, Shomita, you were saying something.
I was just saying that even if you feel like you've worn something too many times, you cannot repeat it in your parties anymore. That's also a change that we will happily handle for you. We'll make the same thing look so different that nobody, even you and yourself, will feel it's a complete new product.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that we are working together, is there any message that you would specifically like to give our twirl lovers, or any advice for twirl?
I mean, twirl is doing the one thing that the moment the other part where both of us match is that we not only think about our customers, we also think about the people who work with us and who supply us. So as I say, end to end, we try to empower people as much as possible. We try to keep the entire chain sustainable. And I have also been very focused on trying to engage people from marginalized communities as my suppliers or as my workers, particularly women. And that's also one of the things that really excited me about working with you. So I feel like I don't have any particular message for Twirl, because I think you're just doing something really well, and I would love to learn from you. But for everybody else, I want to say that it might look like just one piece of clothing for you, but it can make a huge difference to people around you. And if you allow it, and if you, let us serve you, it will also make a huge difference to yourself in your own wardrobe. So if you have any doubts, feel free to talk to us, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. But don't fall shy and say, is it really meant for me? Don't let that question go unanswered. Please talk to us. We will be happy to answer you.
Right. Shomita, tomorrow is actually Women's Equality Day. And, we both are connected on various platforms where we keep talking about, women empowerment and women equality. And so I'd like to know your thoughts on what you feel about this, and B, where do you think we are standing right now? In India, let's take it on a local perspective, not a global one. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that we don't understand equality in a very. It's not easy to understand equality. It's not easy to understand inclusion or diversity, any of that. I think the most important thing, a mistake that people tend to make is that women need to be like men. I think that's the worst mistake you can make. Women just need to be like themselves, and we have to equally respect both men and women. And the other important thing is that men are not the enemy, patriarchy is, and they are not the same thing. Patriarchy is a system where, a lot of power relation, a lot of set norms and rules which help only one type of people, that help. Patriarchy also hurts men. It's not that it doesn't hurt men. And I feel men also need empowering, just like women do. Men have a lot of privilege. Now, having a lot of privilege doesn't always mean that you're empowered. You are so privileged that, food is served right in front of you, but you're so disempowered that you can never cook for yourself. So that, I feel, is the largest disservice patriarchy has done for men, for example. So I feel the moment we start talking about equality, not just for women, for anyone, for any community, for any group, we have to understand that everybody has different needs, everybody has different abilities, and by different, we are not saying big or small, we are just saying it's different. And the moment we start respecting that, acknowledging that, instead of having one particular idea as a standard, that is when we will truly grow. Otherwise, as a world, we are missing out on the unique skills and talent that everybody has to offer.
I think, that's beautifully put. And who better to put it than someone like you, who I know has worked in, this entire spectrum and, has really worked with many of the issues also associated with it. Another thing, I'd like to ask you specifically is that while we're also talking about equality for women, but what about, equal opportunities, or I'd say just, equal
Hello?
Hello. I think we may have lost Sujata ma'am, so I'll just continue her question. I think it is more about what in your mind is a perception of equality associated with this and how you feel about it.
See, like I said earlier, equality has become a bit like there's a standard and everybody's supposed to be reaching that standard. That, in my mind, is not equality. Equality is understanding that everybody has a significant role to play in our lives, in the world, and respecting that and giving opportunity to people which is conducive for them to show to play that role. That is equality. I mean, something, let me just give you a very small example from nature. We always thought that, bees may not be the best thing around us. So apart from giving honey, what do they do? But they really help in pollination, for example. Now, we never gave it that importance, but the moment the bees are dying, pollination is going for a toss, our agriculture is in trouble. All of these things, or let's say rodents, when you look at rodents in our farms, they actually help the agriculture stay. Some types of rodents, I'm not talking about all types. So if you just, constantly kill everyone in the name of insecticide and pesticide, you are also killing farming, you're also killing the earth. So we need to acknowledge the role not just individual as in human individuals, but every species on this planet has to play the role, and give it the conducive environment to play that role. That would be equality for me. So if you ask a man to start having children, that's not equality. At the same time, if you expect that a woman would behave like a man, then all you want is a lot of men around you. That is again not equality.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much. It was a pleasure, as usual, to listen to you and just have this adda with you. And that is the whole point of 12 Talks. We do not give gyan here. We have informal discussions on things that we think matter a lot. It was really a pleasure to talk to you, and most Women's Equality Day. So thank you again, Shomita, for joining us. Even though you're not in the best of health today, but thank you for taking the pleasure. It means a lot to Twirl, and we hope that this is just the beginning of Twirl working with you and Twirl in general causes as well. Thank you for showing us the path, another path for us to really get involved in, because the more people we can impact in society, the happier we will be. So thank you so much for opening this road for us. Thank you everyone. It's really nice that you all join in or see us on Facebook. Thank you, and keep do joining in every week for 12 Talks. Thank you, Shomita. Thank you, everyone. Keep
Thanks,
twirling.
Sujata. It was really great to, it's always great to just chat with you. So yeah, as you said, an informal talk. And I feel that's what all of us should just aim towards, just to get together, have some chit chat and feel good about things.
Absolutely. And Shomita, as you can see, even in the messages we're getting that, you're such an inspiration for everyone. So thank you so much. And
I think ma'am may be facing some issues. Sorry. So ma'am, I'd like to thank you again from everybody's side, and thank you for joining us, because
And for
like
joining
ma'am
the talk,
mentioned,
and do support the causes that we are into. I'm really happy to have all of you here, and see you all soon.
sure. Thank you, ma'am.